Today in Cannabis News, the Connecticut State Senate approves a bill that would legalize recreational cannabis statewide. Following recreational cannabis legalization in the state, New York authorities pursue crackdowns on Delta-8 THC, and Washington State begins its Joints for Jabs program to offer free cannabis for those who receive COVID-19 vaccinations. It's Wednesday, June 9th, and this is your TRICHOMES Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the TRICHOMES.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
First up, the Connecticut State Senate on Tuesday decisively passed a measure that would oversee and excise cannabis for adults 21 years or older, following a half-decade of debate. House Speaker Matt Ritter indicated they anticipate the State House of Representatives to vote on the bill prior to the end of the legislative session at midnight on Wednesday of this week. Ritter stated, "We do expect it to pass." At around 2 a.m. on Tuesday, the proposal was passed by a margin of 19 to 17. 6 Senate Democrats accompanied nearly every Republican in voting against the bill. Senator Kevin Whitkos, a retired law enforcement officer from Canton, did cast an approval vote as a Republican. The vote in the Senate marks the first time any body of the Connecticut government has considered cannabis legalization. According to Senate President Pro Tem Martin Looney, cannabis reform in the state is 88 years overdue. The problem with prohibition, whether it be alcohol, tobacco, or marijuana in this case, is that it tries to impose by law something that is against the inherent feelings of a large segment of society.
Next up, New York has followed a rising list of states pursuing curbs or bans on Delta-8 THC, the psychoactive cannabinoid produced from hemp, only weeks following statewide recreational cannabis legalization. The New York State Department of Health changed its policies on the production and commercial distribution of cannabinoid hemp in May. The planned modifications still are open to public feedback and are anticipated to go into effect in the late summer or fall. In the extracting or processing of any cannabinoid hemp goods, New York hemp producers are prohibited from utilizing synthetic cannabinoids or Delta-8 THC or Delta-10 THC created through isomerization. The use of Delta-8 THC created through isomerization in the processing of cannabinoid hemp products is also banned, according to the updated policies. Whereas the updated policies appear to define the New York's position on Delta-8 THC, they leave numerous problems unexplained. It's uncertain if the planned restrictions will genuinely outlaw Delta-8 items, as some media headlines have suggested, or if they would just carve out a distinct and still undefined legal zone for the state's authorities to clarify.
Last up, the governmental department responsible for regulating the legalized recreational cannabis industry in Washington state will enable authorized merchants to give away free cannabis to customers who get COVID-19 vaccinations. The move is being called Jabs for Joints by some and Pokes for Tokes by others. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board announced this week that it will momentarily suspend regulations to permit licensed cannabis merchants to provide a free pre-rolled joint to those getting either their first or second coronavirus vaccine dose. The board stated that it has gotten multiple calls by registered cannabis merchants to distribute free cannabis to support Washington's vaccine effort. Merchants can promote the incentives, but they must follow rigorous marketing guidelines that restrict how they can promote their goods. The initiative is the newest vaccine enticement in a state that only a few days prior met its objective of inoculating a minimum 70% of adults statewide. Achieving that milestone, according to Governor Jay Inslee, will enable most outstanding coronavirus-related restrictions in Washington to be lifted. The Joints for Jabs program is currently in effect and will end on July 12th.
And that was today's Buzz. Thanks for listening. For more cannabis news and insights from industry professionals and a place to discuss these stories and others, visit TRICHOMES.com.
And be sure to catch up with all of our other cannabis industry-related podcasts like Hash It Out, Careers in Cannabis, or the International Cannabis Conversation wherever you get your podcasts. For TRICHOMES.com, I'm Devin Leal.
And I'm David Fortin. Catch you next time.